Everyone, Jordan Lowry here, and today I want to talk about something that is quite important to a lot of business owners as we get to a stage in a business, whether we're a startup or we're a business, and I think we get to the stage where we need some sort of funding or equity raising to potentially take us to the next level. So today we're actually joined by Peter Towers from ESS and BIZTOOls, and we want to have a chat with him today in relation to equity raising, but at Crowdsource funding and equity raising. So thank you for coming along today, Peter. How are you?
Yeah, thanks, Jordan. Yes, good morning, everyone who's listening to this recording. I'm very well, thank you.
Oh, that's good. Thanks for that, Peter. So, Peter, we'll get into it. Like for the people who are going to be watching this, what is Crowdsource funding equity raising? What is that?
Crowdsource funding equity raising has been brought into play in Australia by the federal government, who made some amendments to the Corporations Act in 2018, which enables a private company to be able to raise up to $5 million in a 12-month period from the public.
That's great.
These companies have to be have a turnover of less than $25 million,
yep.
A gross value of assets under $25 million, and if they meet that criteria, they're potentially eligible to start on this fundraising journey.
Peter, can I ask what other eligibility requirements there are? Because that's going to be like you mentioned, under 25 million turnover. People who are watching this who are maybe looking to grow their business using that crowdfunding equity raising, or the crowdsource funding, they're probably going to be interested in that. So can you run me through some of those?
There's not many regulations, to be honest. Group turnover under $25 million, group asset value under $25 million, not listed on a stock exchange, not listed on a financial market. And the money has to be raised to invest in a business. It can't be just raised to sit in a bank account or be lent to another company in the group. They're the rules.
There's not many restrictions there, is there?
No.
Which means a lot of businesses qualify.
Yes, and they don't have to go through borrowing money from a bank, personal guarantees, finding a property to put up a security, which the company might not even have. They might have to borrow it off a shareholder or a director or a director's mother-in-law and secure her property to offer a security for a bank. So they don't have to do any of that with crowdsource funding equity raising.
Yep, we're seeing the banks tighten up a lot as well, aren't we? With the obviously the Royal Commission. So people are looking at other avenues like this. So that is very good.
Yes, it's very difficult to raise capital from banks at present. That's unfortunate. Hopefully, everyone will get over the post-Royal Commission jitters soon. But in the meantime, this is an interesting way. Australia's not leading the world on this. We are 7 to 8 years behind countries like New Zealand, Canada, USA, United Kingdom, and some countries in Europe. So it's been proven billions of dollars have been raised by small and medium-sized enterprises in those other countries. Which
is good. So, like you said, Peter, it shows it works, and I think it is going to be that'll be something quite big for Australia as well, as people sort of get a bit more, I suppose, as it catches on. I know there are 7 intermediaries at the moment, and it is early days. But how much capital has been raised, Peter?
$33 million has been raised at present from 36 companies. One company raised $5 million, a couple have raised in the $4 million. We had an all-female business recently raise $3 million for a taxi service for females in Melbourne.
I heard about that, the ride-sharing company over in WA or Perth, wasn't it?
No, in Melbourne.
Melbourne.
I might have made a mistake earlier in the piece and said it was.
No, that's right. No, that's great, mate. So here's probably a question too. I think as we get clarity around like what the crowdsourced equity funding is compared to like crowdfunding. I think we've heard of like the GoFundMe's and like what are the differences?
Well, the difference is that crowdsource funding equity raising, you are receiving ordinary shares in a company in accordance with the Corporations Act. So it's very closely controlled by the Australian Security Investment Commission, and the investor is receiving ordinary shares in the company. Crowdfunding, which is the social media driven fundraising activities that people can undertake, nothing wrong with that. But those fundraising activities are not governed by an Act of Parliament. You're not receiving shares in a company in return for that investment. Sure, in some cases you might receive some product or samples of products, but it's really completely different. I think it's unfortunate that when the federal government introduced their amendments to the Corporations Code, they didn't think of a slightly different name. This one is very close to crowdfunding, which has been operating in Australia for at least 10 years, and it is fairly well established, of course, and everyone knows what it is.
Yeah.
Crowdsource funding equity raising is different, and hopefully our promotions are going to encourage people to have a good look at what the differences are and realise that this is a capital raising activity for small companies and medium-sized companies to be able to get themselves underway in the marketplace. I
like that. I think the key word there, isn't it, is from what you've said, is the equity. You're actually getting some equity in the company, and the people who obviously invest have equity as well. So I think with this, Peter, too, like the introductions to, like, if a business or an SME is looking to do something like this, usually the first port of call would be your accountant, because they're quite trusted. They're a trusted advisor in your business, if not one of the most trusted person. So, like, what role do the accountants play in assisting people to raise equity capital, Peter?
I believe accountants should be the key advisors to their clients. The vast majority of companies who desire to go down this path to be able to use crowdsource funding equity raising will currently be clients of small to medium-sized accountancy businesses situated all over Australia. They're not just in the capital cities, they're in the regional areas, the country areas, all over the city. So in the first instance, if you're a small or medium-sized business operator watching this broadcast, why not go and talk to your accountant about it? Your accountant may be one of our subscribers, and they have got a full process that we have developed for them to use to guide a company's board of directors and senior managers through this process. If your accountant doesn't know anything about it, you could ask him if he would like to contact us at peter@essbiztools.com.au, or you yourself as a small, medium business operator could make contact with us, and we will introduce you to an accountant who we have accredited, who is one of our members, who will be able to guide you through this process.
That's good, Peter, and I'm sure people appreciate that. So what is your suggestion to accountants who may not be, so if there's an accountant that may be watching, or they're not across crowdsourced equity to raising or funding, like what is your suggestion there?
My suggestion is that they quickly become aware of what crowdsource funding equity raising is all about. Unfortunately, a significant percentage of the accountancy market doesn't seem to have any direct knowledge of crowdsource funding equity raising. This is an opportunity to create a completely new income stream within your accountancy business, because this is new in Australia. No one else has got a history of being the expert in this for the last 10 years or whatever, because everyone is starting on the same zero level, really, and wanting to build up from there. So we believe that we have an outstanding product package that you can subscribe to through our affiliates, and Jordan is one of our affiliates through Blackstone Business Group, and we can take you through our training program there so that your team will be able to give advice to clients. This encompasses some documents that are needed to be produced, some processes that need to be undertaken to get the company into the investment ready status, a business plan, budgets and cash flow forecast, a complete analysis of your business's customers and your suppliers, so that the whole of that information can then be formulated into a budget and cash flow forecast, looking at least the next 3 years. The valuation of the business then needs to be prepared. So there's a fair bit of work got to go on as a preliminary before the crowdsource funding offer document is prepared, which is a de facto prospectus. And that is the document that then you have to take to one of the government's appointed intermediaries who will check the document, acting as the gatekeeper for Australian Security Investment Commission. And when he or she is satisfied, they will then upload it onto their website, where they will then be promoting it to the thousands of people who have already registered with that individual intermediary as being people who are interested in investing in these types of companies. So that's a quick overview of the process.
No, it's good, Peter. So just quickly on that too. So like the type of investors as well, like this is quite different. It is actually open to like mum and dad investors and also larger investors, isn't it?
That's right. And this is one of the big changes. Unfortunately, for small mum and dad investors, the so-called retail investors, it has been very difficult for them over the last 20 years to get involved in what really has been a boom in Australia with startup and young businesses. Some have grown into massive businesses. There was an article in the Financial Review last week about a company, Alsatian, who is now valued at over $50 billion. That's a software product produced in Australia. The retail investor really was cut out of being able to invest in those companies because it was only available for sophisticated investors and wholesale investors. Crowdsource funding equity raisings opened up that opportunity. The maximum investment per company per annum for a retail investor is $10,000.
Okay.
They can invest in a number of companies if they wish, and obviously if the share offer is still on in the following year, they can make more investments in following years.
I think that's good too. Like I look at it from a business point of view, but even if people are watching this from an investor point of view, that's good too. So they get to run their own little version of Dragon's Den and Shark Tank, mate, as they read proposals. So
yeah, and go through and do the analysis and look at it and say, are they comfortable with that sort of investment? Do they understand something about the industry that company's in? Can they visualize what's going to happen? Have they got some confidence in the people that they see in a video like this, the directors and the senior managers, because they're the people that are going to drive their investment.
That's perfect. Is there a minimum investment, Peter, or is it $50?
No, the companies themselves set the minimum. So I've seen minimums of $50, $250. I saw one last week at $4,500 minimum investment. I think in the companies I'm advising, I'd be advising around a $500 minimum investment. But all investments must be made direct to the appointed intermediaries website, because this is all being delivered using the internet.
Perfect. And no doubt down the track, both yourself and I will introduce some of those contacts as well. So Peter, before we go, Taylor, I think that's been really, really helpful as far as like accountants, the education piece around that, investors, but also SMEs who are looking to go down that crowdfunding equity raising and that capital raising. I think is very important. So, Peter, is there anything else you want to add today?
No, we're happy to talk to people if they're interested. There is a group of companies out there who are wanting to scale up or doing something similar to what scaling up means, and that means that they might currently have a turnover of say $2 to $3 million and want to grow to a $5 to $7 million turnover. If they want to go down that path, it is going to cost them an investment in the business, because to do that you will need to increase your working capital, your investment in stock and debtors, and a lot of people don't realize that. But this is where crowdsource funding equity raising, I think, is perfect for those companies, because they've already got a track record. They've been trading, they've achieved something, they've got customers, they've got what the market calls fans, and they're able to do some projections as to what could happen over the next few years if they had one of the key ingredients available to help develop businesses, and that's cash. You really need cash to be able to expand businesses. Crowdsource funding, equity raising for thousands of companies in Australia will be a vehicle that can deliver that growth and that prosperity to those companies.
I love that, Peter, and I think the other countries they've shown that it is a success. And like you said, we're a little bit behind the times, but it's here now, so it's up to us to make the most of it. So
that's right.
I think that's great. Peter, thank you very, very much for your time today. And obviously, I'll attach your contact details so people can reach out to you at ESS BIZTOOLS. And mate, we really look forward to seeing you in an upcoming video as well.
Okay, thanks very much, Jordan.
Thanks, Peter.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.